Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast. The #1 show to bring you all things Club America and English.
Oh, what a strike! Club America!
Your hosts for today are Ivan Pineda, Cristian Rosendo, Alexis Juarez, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Goal! Now let's hit the field and start the show.
America! Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Welcome to our Lady Aguilas, just podcast in general, where we talk all things America Femenil, and we're going to be recapping everything that happened in regards to that loss away from home against Atlético San Luis, and then we're going to be previewing the match at home coming up against Xolos, which is going to be tomorrow. But as always, let me introduce tonight's co-host. It is none other than Brooklyn's very own AJ, a.k.a. Young Arnie, a.k.a. Baby Schwarzenegger. How we doing, my man?
Doing good. Did some yoga earlier today, which felt really good because I needed it after doing some aerobic training earlier this week, and had some tacos de birria, and here I am now.
Nice. For anyone listening out there, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna go down New York. I'm gonna be in the Brooklyn area. Where is the #1 spot for tacos?
It is a place called Birrialandia. It is located on Metropolitan Avenue. It is amazing. You will not be disappointed. Trust me. Aside, we're not sponsored by them, but hey, they should hit me up with that sponsor.
Definitely hitting us up after that sponsor. We just directing a whole bunch of flights down to New York after this. But awesome. Glad to hear that you're good. Glad to have you on here because I know that you covered the game for us in regards to the ladies. And we're going to talk about that terrible match that was against Atlético San Luis. And then again, like I mentioned, we're going to preview the upcoming match against Xolos as well. But might as well just get started, AJ. So, America Femenil went up against Atlético San Luis last week on Sunday in the game where we thought this is a game to cement your season, right? You just went off a really good win against Pumas, and you had some pretty good results backing you up afterwards too. We thought we were going to get the best out of these ladies, but it didn't seem to be the case, AJ. I'm not to say that this game was just absolutely terrible because we had our chances to win this match, but nothing just kind of ended up going in the back of the net. What do you think went wrong for this team? What happened to our ladies? We were just on cloud 9 after beating Pumas, and then we were dropped all the way back to the ground with this result after, fairly being confident to get a result away at San Luis.
I'm speechless. Like, I watched the whole 90 minutes, and I'm wondering what happened. Like, did we underestimate San Luis? And I feel like this could probably be the case of just, a team that's just been struggling throughout the entire season, and they're just trying to find some victims to get a win off of. It happened to be America, and I looked at this, and it's potentially probably the worst game we've had all season, and one of the worst games in a while, because it's just really frustrating to see how this team played, especially with the lineup that we had. It's arguably the best line we could have, maybe switching one or two players out in that midfield. But on that, it's as good as you could possibly get. And it's just to see us struggle against a San Luis side that only had, a good 39% possession. And they really only had 4 good shots in that entire game. And they scored 1. They could have scored potentially 2 off of a Gabi Lozada mistake, which, if that was the case, I wouldn't know what I would have done. But it's just really disheartening to just see how this strong of a lineup that we had against San Luis could not do anything. I just felt as well like the football gods were just like, you're not scoring a goal, because we hit the crossbar so many times and the ball was hitting players all over the place. It was like a game of pinball where you're just hearing the ringing noises, just the ball just hitting everyone back and forth. That ball just did not want to go in the back of the net for America Femenil. And the shots that they had, Stephanie Jimenez was saving everything. She looked like Manuel Neuer on that pitch. Like, nothing could stop her. She was like that Ochoa, like, you shall not pass. She just had hands everywhere, just going out of her, just stopping every shot. But I really don't know. Was it an off day? I can't say it's an off day, but it could have been because it was, we're away. And you mentioned before, our away form is not the greatest. So it could have had a factor. But just to see how we struggled in San Luis raises a lot of questions. And I really honestly don't have like an answer to it. It's not why America Femenil struggled.
You know what? I think you put it perfectly, AJ. I think you said the word was it was a very disheartening performance. And I think just overall that would be the kind of mood in and around the locker room, especially because you're coming off a huge win against Pumas, someone who at that point was the league leaders, who just was not being scored on. And you seem to have been able to break that cycle and maybe shut some of the criticisms up. But afterwards, you go into San Luis. It's not to say that, we were just non-existent. I think you mentioned that we had a lot of the ball possession. We had a lot of the shots. It's just one of those nights where nothing was going in, regardless of what was happening. And I think that it just sums up America Femenil's season. In one match, I think it's this one right here. It's that you have the quality, you have the talent, you're out there doing your thing, but it's just something's not clicking. Something's not there. The final product just isn't there. And like you mentioned, that's the most disheartening thing about this is that we know that we have the talent. We know that we have the players for it. We should have the coach for it as well, but nothing's gelling, nothing's clicking. And I think that's what frustrates a lot of the America Femenil supporters right now at this point is that what is going on? There doesn't seem to be a clear kind of answer as to, well, this is wrong, so we need to fix this. I think there's so many things to address within this team that it's so hard to pinpoint just one area.
I'm gonna keep saying I'm speechless because this is like a game where I'm just trying to constantly figure out the entire game. What are we doing wrong? I feel like we're doing everything right because when I'm looking at that stat sheet, we had 28 crosses in this match. Almost all those crosses were equal. From the left, we had 15. On the right, we had 13. We had, if I'm counting correctly, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We had like 11 shots on target. And if I go, I need to find out how many shots we had in total, but it's got to be somewhere around like maybe 20-something shots we had in this entire game. Just nothing was going in. Some shots we took as well, and it might have been our target. It was questionable, some of them. Like some of the shots that Maria Pelayo took earlier, I just kind of wondered, don't take those shots ever kind of again, because she sent the ball over so far to the left, I think, twice at that point. I'm just like, just please, no. Like, every other shot we had, it seemed like it looked good. Or is it like, are we taking the shots too far out? Are we taking it too late? Are we taking it too early? It's one of those things I'm just constantly trying to pinpoint and figure out, but I feel like I'm just not finding the answer I'm looking for. Especially with this star-studded lineup that we have, that I feel like should have completely took Atletico San Luis straight out of the wall. They really feel like they shouldn't be given that many opportunities as they had. Like we had mentioned before, which team was right. This is a tough opposition. Despite them struggling and being 15th place at the time when they played, any team that's at that position are always looking to give America Femenil the hardest time and try to secure those 3 points. And they ended up doing that, actually. Either Cassis, she was the goal scorer for Atletico San Luis, and she could have potentially got, actually, now what I'm thinking about, she could have gotten a hat trick at this game. There was a point where she missed, where she went right past Natalia Acuna. All she had to do was finish it, and that ball just went a bit too far to the right. And then the Gabi Lozada mistake ended up happening around the 70th minute mark. She was about to score that as well, so she easily could have had a hat trick against us. And then while I'm now thinking about it, I think what things might have went wrong, it was probably that defense, because San Luis on the counterattack, they look scary. And to think what our back four, it's like, we should have no problems. You gave San Luis way more chances and opportunities they were supposed to get in far more space. Acuna did have some good saves, but all just that one goal that happened, it was disheartening just to see. And I feel like at that point, it frustrated America Femenil. Where you think it's in a good way, you're going to frustrate them to have them attack. They did. It just felt like they weren't doing it the right way, though. And it's just difficult to just like let it all sink in that we've lost to a team in 15th place at the very middle of the season. This is a time where it's like we need these 3 points because they're down the road. These next games are going to be very difficult for America Femenil. And after look at this, it's looking pretty bleak to how the future is looking for this season and how their playoffs hope might be.
Yeah, look, we're coming to the stretch of the season as to where, you're dropping points left, right, and center. It's going to come back and bite you. And America Femenil, we mentioned that this is probably one of the last few teams that you're just thinking like, on paper should be an easy match, right? We still have the Tigreses, we still have the Chivas is coming up. Like we still have very big oppositions that hopefully when we play against them, the ladies kind of have that sense of urgency. Like, okay, we're playing against this big club, we have to show up and step up into the moment, or else we're gonna get washed 3-4-5-6-0, and we know that this league is more than capable of doing those things, and so. I don't know, AJ. It's like I sit here and I try to figure out an answer, and I'm trying to see, well, maybe it's this piece because it's here, or maybe it's this piece because it's that. But like I mentioned, there's just too much going on. I feel like there's too much chaos within this team that there isn't enough synergy. Is what I'm trying to say, right? Beforehand, in other teams, you knew that there was a balance, at least in the midfield. There was a balance, at least up top, where goals were scoring. There was a balance in the defense from time to time. Like, there was balance, and then I feel like there is just not that anymore. And I don't know if it's Cuellar mixing the lineups and throwing players in positions that they shouldn't be playing. If it's the players themselves who are just kind of like, you know what, I'm not really up for it today. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we can go and speculate stuff off of the pitch as well, but that's not our job. Our job here is to focus on what happens on the pitch. And the fact that nothing really happens for America, that's the most kind of worrisome part about it all. Is just, okay, we had chances, we had shots, but did we even look as good as those numbers state that they said that we were? And I'm there to say that we didn't, AJ. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, first half, we looked bad. Second half, it seemed like we got worse, which I'm just like wondering, how did we get that bad? And everyone clearly just stated, I said, like, this is the worst game America Femenil has had in a while. We scored no goals against San Luis, and that's frustrating. It's a side where you're, like you mentioned, on paper, we should demolish them completely. And I was really calm when I said 3-0. And after that result, I'm just like, maybe I should not go with those results ever again, because this season, it's one of the worst seasons I think I've seen America Femenil play, and I'm so confused to figure out what's going on. Like, is there internal problems going on at Coapa? Do the videos really truly reflect how everything supposedly is? When in reality, maybe that's not the case. Behind those locked doors, it's probably a whole different locker room, and the way that players feel. Who knows? Maybe towards one another. Maybe they're not 100%. Cuellar maybe did something. The players are just like, I had enough of it. I'm done. Because some players this season, they're having some of the worst seasons in an America jersey. And it's sad. Gaby Lozada, she's just a player of her former self, a show of her former self. Just is the same play that we first saw when she first arrived to this team. Gas Cuevas, yeah, no. We've seen her more on the bench than I think she's even played this season. I think she's just losing confidence in her. And some of the some of the transfers as well that we've done in the offseason, very questionable. The players that we had to let go, who's had experience in this league, who knows the system, and we just let them go like that. And former stars from last season, like players like Jennifer Munoz, Jimena Rios, may I even say Hannah Gutierrez too, who looked to be like a promising player from last season. You're just seeing them all on the bench now, and they get little to no playing time with Cuellar around.
Yeah, look, and it's not because we're here to point fingers or name names just for the sake of it, but I think you're right, AJ. I think that there's some players that just have fallen so below par on what we're expected of them, you know. And look, this profession is a tricky one, right? You're always demanded to be at your 100%. 100% of the time, and especially playing at America, right? There is no such thing as an excuse when you put on that jersey. And that's the thing that I just kind of everyone's kind of just a bit of fathom, because it's like, well, what can you say? You know, and I get it. We let go of some players, but at the same time, we kept a majority of this spine of the team. You know, but players, and I get it. Injuries have played their part, but this team should not be in the position that they're in. You know, we should be higher in the table. We should be doing better. We should be getting results against San Luis. you know. And look, all credit to them. You know, they played their game. They did what they had to do. Shout out to their goalkeeper, who was, it was just one of those games. You know, it was one of those days where the goalkeeper just came out on top. But you know, the stats show that you had a lot more shots than, you know, you should definitely be putting one or two in the back of the net. And maybe this is a whole different analysis, but I think at the end of the day, just poor overall. And like you mentioned, disheartening, you know, because we believe in this team and we've seen what this team is capable of. We know that these players are more than capable of getting the results. And just no one seems to be stepping up. And that's the problem. We don't have a leader. We do not have a leader on that pitch. And it shows, you know, there's no cohesiveness. And there's not that one player that's kind of rallying the troops. There's not that one player that's kind of maybe putting it all together. It just feels like it's just a bunch of 11 ladies going out there playing a game. And the manager's saying, look, it's your turn to go out there. Do what you can. And if you can't, then what more can I tell you?
Man, I understand why we have to play musical chairs, a term I love to use so much. With not only the lineup, but the captain's armband too. It makes you wonder who truly even is the captain in this squad. Like, there's no leadership. You mentioned there's no cohesiveness. It seems like on the pitch we're scattered. We're just trying to do individual plays. And when we try to do creative play to get, it just ends to seem fall apart, or we get no end product at the end of that play. And we just hope, okay, let's hope this corner can do something. And we just get nothing out of it. Like, I will keep repeating it. 1-0. We lost to San Luis. What? No one in their right mind would have thought we will lose to this team. It's not to say they're like bad. No discredit to them. They have quality players, but just how they are struggling this season. You're looking at the table. You're like, we should get a result out of them. This does not should be so difficult of a match, and we made this match so difficult. We just could not score at all with the opportunities that were given to us, and with this lineup as well. And it just makes you think now, how are we going to look in the future? How are these upcoming games for America Femenil is going to be looking like with this roster? Is the other team just going to take the game right to them? And it has to be that scenario where it's like, we're down. We need to do something right now, or we're going to lose this match. I feel like, as you made, I feel like we're at this point, I think his time is truly up. That's it. After a result like this, it's unbelievable. We're getting comments every single time on their own Twitter page. Hashtag Fuera Cuellar. It can be anything that's not related to the team itself. And it just says, hashtag Fuera Cuellar. I want him out of my club. No more.
Yeah, the fans are very demanding.
Like, we made it as clear as day. We don't want this man in our club anymore. But we're with them. That's all we can do. We just get. It's like, you see how he's just kind of just like, I put these players on the pitch. I hope they do our best. And then for us, it's like, okay, let's see what he does for the rest of the season. At this point, there's not much else we could do as fans. Just stick with it. Sadly.
Yeah, like you mentioned it. Look, to all the Americanistas out there and to all the America Femenil supporters, brace yourself. Winter's coming at this point, because look, you we have to ride the storm out, right? We have to weather out the storm. Cuellar is going to be here until the end of the season. There is no if, buts, or maybes. That's just the way it has to be, because even if we fire him, we're stuck with his Aguilar, with his right hand man. And so it's just like, okay, because of the rule implemented, we're stuck with Cuellar. And look, we're in for a long season, and I know we just mentioned that the season's almost at the point of ending, but we're still in for a long season with these kind of results, with these type of games. It's going to continue to be frustrating. I don't see it just magically turning around just from day to night. Something's got to give this offseason for America. It truly does. Like, AJ, my hopes for a title race are over for America. If we can make playoffs, then fine, so be it. I don't even know if that's even worth it at this point, because I just feel like it might just be an embarrassment of an exit from a playoff, just kind of the way we did against Monterrey. But it sounds like I've lost hope, and and I don't want it to come off like that, but I think I've just lost faith in Cuellar, you know, and I still have faith in these ladies, and I know they're capable of so much more than what they're just displaying, and how much do you attest that to the coach and all this stuff, but I'm well aware that they have to put in their part, and that they have to put in a shift as well. And there's moments and times where some players do and others lack. And I don't know, maybe you just need that fresh start from the manager. I don't expect some of these players to continue in an America jersey at the end of the season either. So it's all still up in the air, AJ. But you're right. I think that we're starting to see the end of Cuellar's tenure at America.
Man, just get him out because I'm done suffering with this man at this point. Like, I feel like he's just half-assing everything at this point. Like, he really just truly does not care. His press conference, answers, I'm like, you think we're okay? Okay. Where do you see okay at? Have you seen how we've been doing in 9 games so far in the season? We're not the same team that we were last season when we were cruising through teams. If anything, when we first started in this league, back when we were separated with 2 groups, and we arguably had the easiest group of the bunch, where in the other group there was teams like Chivas, Tigres, and Rayas, all in that same group. I think the only scary team we had in our group was essentially Pachuca and Toluca. And if anything, Puebla at that time. And even that, with the teams that we had, we will sweep through everyone with no problem. And then this season, it's just like, where did all that goal scoring prowess went? Where has it gone? Because I'm looking at the stats from last season. By the 9th game, we already scored 26 goals. We have half of that in 9 games. In 9, we have essentially half of what we scored, and we've conceded 10 times. Those 10 times, you know how many goals we conceded last season? 12. And we're only at the halfway mark. What? When I say this is the worst season America has had, it is definitely the worst season we've had. If anything, by the Classic 2020 season, but at the same time, that was canceled due to COVID. We don't know how it's gonna pan out for the team later on. But if I'm just looking at stats, but as well looking how the games we were playing, this season by no that's the worst season we had on the Cuellar. And we're only at the halfway mark as well. We're only halfway.
Yeah, man. Look, like I mentioned, weather yourselves. It's gonna be a long, long ride. It's not gonna be an enjoyable one. We're gonna suffer some more. It's no doubt about it that these ladies have the capability of turning it around. Will they? That's definitely gonna be up to them. But I think we can count our way out on this one. And like I think we've mentioned it from time to time during these podcasts, is that this is gonna have to solely be a team effort. Like, you're gonna have to forget what the manager does. Yes, he has the ability to put you in and put you out. But I think they have to talk as a unit and say, you know what? We have to play for ourselves. We have to play for our fans, and we have to play kind of for our own pride at this point, because if he's not going to lead us, then all we're left is leading ourselves. But even then, it worries me because I don't think anyone wants to step up. I don't think anyone wants to take responsibility. That's why you see the Captain Arms band continue to just hop around like hot potato. And so, look, someone's got to stand up. Someone's got to be that leader in and around that locker room. I just don't know who that could be.
At this point, it seems like the captain's armband is up for grabs. I am always saying it's going to be Monica Rodriguez as my captain, and she always will be. And I don't understand why she's not having that captain's armband. She will literally yell at the players that they're playing bad. She says, "You're playing bad. Snap out of it." If someone's not in the correct position, she says, "Hey, get back to where you are." If at any point we get a set piece or a corner, whatever that case may be, she's going to talk with her players before it's this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to execute it. I'll understand. I feel like she's one of the few players, and that's in the starting 11 or in this team throughout the entire season, that has heart. Every game she plays, it's essentially life or death to this team. And Guerra mentioned in a press conference, every game moving forward, it's essentially life or death. I don't even believe Guerrero at that point because, like I said, he's half-assing things. I don't trust him with anything at this point. If he says we're gonna try, I'm like, are we really though? Are we gonna actually try and try to turn things around? 'Cause at this point, let the players themselves be the coaches and just be the one to lead the team and backpack him because I feel like he's past overdue his tenure at America Femenil. He should just gone after he got embarrassed at the Azteca and away against Rayadas. He should have been gone at that point. I don't know why he's still in this team. I don't understand why.
You know what it reminds me, AJ? It reminds me that day of now that you mentioned that Rayadas match. I was watching the second leg. I just had come home and I bought some Wingstop, and I was like, one of the wings went the wrong way, and it felt like I was like, oh god, no, this is where it ends. This is how it ends. Watching America Femenil fall down to Rayadas, choking on a chicken wing. Oh god. I was like, please, God, don't let it be. Don't let it end this way. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think he definitely should have stepped down at that point. I mean, the question is who's gonna come in, right? And still that question remains to this day: who will come in? But look, we're gonna have to weather this out, and I think that we're gonna continue to continuously talk hashtag Fuera Cuellar until the end of the season. But until then, I mean, we'll see what happens. You know, but I mean, there you guys have it. America drops 3 points away at San Luis, and again, you know, the uphill battle continues as to see whether or not we can end this season on a bit of a high note. Questions will always be regarding as to whether or not America Femenil can do it. We'll have to wait and see. But all right, AJ, let's move on and talk potentially Xolos right now. But before we do, I do remind everyone that today's episode is brought to you by Footcult. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys check out footcult.com. Me and AJ are wearing our Eagle Eye Podcast training tops. So if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys go check them out. And if you guys like them, or if you guys like any Footcult product, whatever it is, you guys can use the discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off. Again, that is discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off on all Footcult products. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Footcult, for sponsoring today's episode. All right, AJ, talk to me about news in and around the world of Copa for our ladies. Is Renata Mascherelli finally back on the pitch? What is going on, man?
Justin looks at everything. Everyone just seems to be training Mascherelli. I think at some point in time, she's gonna just be Guerrero's just gonna do his thing and just swapping starting 11 for his goalkeeper spot. And we'll probably see Mascherelli at any point. I expect it to be on the bench versus Xolos. Or who knows, maybe in the following games and just gets that start. She looks like she looks to be completely 100%. For the other players, for Vita Perez, it seems like she's still recovering, trying to be at 100%. For Nat Pina, still recovering from the surgery that she had from the injury she suffered against Toluca. So I don't expect Pina to be fit 100% anytime soon. COVID-19 testing was also done at Copa America Femenil. Everything came back negative. No one has COVID from the test, so that's good, and that's essentially about everything.
That is the only good news we have.
one more thing I do have. For the matches against Tigres and Chivas, America Femenil will actually be playing at the Estadio Azteca. It's going to be the first time since the playoffs when we have played. And last time we played was in 2019 against Necaxa, where we defeated them 3-0. So, good things to see that they're returning back to where they truly belong, the Estadio Azteca, not Coapa. Though, the only sad thing, no fans will be able to be present for those matches.
Yeah, that's, that is the bit unfortunate news about all this. But, like you mentioned, it's good to see them in the Estadio Azteca. I do hope that they do the whole Solari thing and they practice a day before at the stadium just to get the rhythm to it, because it's a whole different story. We know that sometimes America Femenil in the Estadio Azteca seems to have maybe, suffer a little bit because they're not so accustomed to the length of the pitch, the width of it all, So, again, we'll have to wait and see, but that is some really good news. And hopefully those are 2 games where the ladies can come out on top.
No doubt about it.
Alrighty, well then, thank you again, AJ, for that bit of news. And I thought I had something to add to that. Let's see. I'm drawing a blank, the biggest blank I've ever drawn right now. Oh well, if it comes back to me, it comes back to me. If not, then I guess we'll save it for next week's episode. But all right then, let's move on to the next match, which is Xolos. Xolos are coming into town tomorrow, AJ. Well, I think they already arrived in Mexico City. But America Femenil going up against Xolos. I mean, how are we feeling about this, AJ? Because it's just I want to be optimistic. I know we're at home and all of that, but it's just, to be honest, it just feels a little bit like a drag to have to hype myself up for this one and expect 3 points and this and that. I just, what do we even want from America Femenil at this point in the season? Do we want just a big major? I mean, obviously we want a big major turnaround and have them go on and be successful, but let's be a little bit more realistic here, and what's a little bit more tangible for the ladies. What do you want to see in specific to this match that is an improvement from last game?
Just heart. That's all I ask for, and just for just smart decision making on the pitch. Because despite the amount of shots, it seems like whenever that ball just rolls, they just want to kick it. Just take the time, look around to see if there's a better opportunity at goal for you. If you could dribble the ball up to the final third more, challenge a defender to, or pass the ball out, give the outlets to either to one of your wingers to score. Because we were getting that ball, and like I said, it was like a pinball machine. Like, it was just hitting every single spot that was on that pinball machine. Be smart with the shot selections. Don't rush anything. If you know there's a defender right in front of you, don't shoot that ball. Just pass it out or dribble out a bit more. See if you can find an open teammate to pass the ball to. That's really what I think America really needs to do, and they cannot let their guard down. Those spaces in defense cannot be happening, and especially against a side which you feel that they shouldn't be getting that many opportunities like San Luis. You cannot allow that again. You cannot let the opposition take the game to you and then eventually give you that wake-up call. We're down a goal. We need to do something. But that response needs to be immediately. I cannot fathom that I need to wait all the way until the 90th minute like we did against Mazatlan to score a goal, because that was scary, and I do not want something like that to happen. But against a side like Xolos, this is a game where America Femenil cannot let their guard down. As soon as that ball gets rolling, that whistle is blowing, they need to get into their in-game immediately and know what they have to do on the pitch to get themselves goals. Because this Xolos side is no pushover. They defeated Chivas 2-1, one of the top teams in this league this season. And just from that itself, they're not playing around. They come to Coapa and to get those 3 points from America.
Yeah, we definitely know Xolos is on a mission here, and we said it time and time again. Anyone who sees that America badge, they're definitely going to play at 110%. So, look, it's going to be a long day tomorrow for the ladies, but if they can weather some of these attacks and they can get something on the counter attack, I think maybe we can get something here. But talk to me a little bit more about who you expect to be in the starting 11, because I think at this point we don't even know exactly if Coyette is even going to put a starting 11. They can go out there with 10 players for all we care. But look, it's just, what do you have for us in regards to a predicted starting 11?
Mm-hmm. So at starting goalkeeper, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna have Renata Mascherelli starting there. If she's completely 100%, I feel like this is the time where it's like he's gonna make that change now and give her the starting spot. Right back, I'm gonna have Monica Rodriguez. Our two center backs is gonna be consisted Jenny Farias and Justin Orehead. Left back position is gonna be Selene Valera getting that start. In midfield, I'm going to go with Montse Hernandez on the left. On the right, I'm going to have Diana Garcia. Two midfielders going to be Eva Gonzalez and Jennifer Munoz. And our two forwards up front, I'm going to go with Daniela Espinosa and Daniela Flores.
So the two Dannies up top again, and I guess we're just keeping our fingers crossed that this is the game that they both score and make something happen for us. But I think it's fair to say that the goals have to come from them. We expect the midfield to help out a lot. Like I mentioned, I think Eva has such an important role in this team that a lot of the football will be played through her feet. And I think she's just gonna need that support from Jen if she does start. This is a player that now that I said Jen, I remember what I was gonna say. In regards to Coapa news, Jen just announced that she signed an exclusive contract with, not a contract, a partnership with Charlie Football. So that's actually a pretty big news. She's representing the ladies in that department. She's a face for Charlie, a brand from Mexico, and so pretty big things happening there. So my heart was a little bit broken because I'm a big Nike guy, always will be. Nike, forever and ever. And so the fact that she's not wearing Nike anymore, well, it pains me a little bit. But for her overall, and I think what this means just in general, not just for the, just for her, but I think the culture of football for women's to have Jen do something like this, I think is huge. And so, like I said, big shout outs to her. But back to the football on the pitch, she's gonna have to be a bit of that relief for Eva at times. I think she's gonna have to go and help her do some of that scrappy work, build some of that play, get some of this moving for America Femenil, and then we'll have to wait and see if the wingers can bring some support as well. But I don't know, AJ, what do you think Cuellar's game plan, or forget that, what do you think the game plan for the ladies in general should be in order to take the game to Tijuana?
It's just all about, just at this point, crosses seems to be the name of the game, and that's what they need to really go with. Whoever's going to be getting the ball on the wing, what's going to be Montse, Diana Garcia, when it's going to be Diana Garcia, or if it's going to be Jen Munoz playing on that side because she's capable of playing a winger, Maya Pelay, whoever is going to be on those wings, they just need to take that to the corner and cross, and just need to hope they could find Daniela Espinosa and Danny Flo, because it seems like at this point, we're still trying to find our playing style, but I think at that point, that's the name of the game. It's cross the ball into the final third and see if someone can get their head onto the ball and head it home. Because that seems like that's just the way America Femenil's game plan is, and that's what's going to have to be. That midfield, though, they're going to need to play an instrumental role as well. We can't just simply have our wingers from the middle of the pitch just run all the way up by themselves. The wingers themselves should be the ones up front already getting themselves positioned to do that cross. The midfielders, if it's going to be Eva Gonzalez or Jennifer Munoz, they're going to be the ones that's going to have to give the through ball or the cross to the wingers themselves and find them, so then the wingers are allowed to do their jobs. And then for our forwards, we know they definitely have a knack for scoring goals and getting their foot on the ball and striking whenever they see it right on their foot. Find themselves open, get the opportunity, the space that they need to just get the ball all to themselves and be on a one-on-one to that goalie and strike that ball into the back of the net and score the goal, because that's what they're going to need to do. Because Daniela Flores has been a bit on a goal drought. She's not scoring against since Toluca, and for Daniela Espinosa, she's scoring against Pumas, but we need for her to continue her goal scoring streak. She's only has 4 goals this season. Not bad, but she could definitely do better. And I know that for a fact, because we all know how deadly Daniela Espinosa can be. And when she gets a goal, she does not stop scoring goal. She does not stop scoring. She will keep continuously scoring until she gets subbed off. So that's really the game for the ladies this match against Xolos.
Yeah, and I think defensively speaking too, we're gonna have to be as sound and as tight as possible. And if Renata Mascherelli does come in, I expect her to have a big game. Look, like we said, Xolos, no pushover. What so means necessary. We'll see if the ladies can handle the pressure. Like you mentioned, this is a Xolos side that has capability of making things happen. And if we're not careful, it's gonna be another one of those San Luis matches. And so you can't really give Xolos that opportunity. If you score first, and I think that's detrimental for America walking away with all 3 points. If you score first, then I think you dictate the tempo. We have the players to do so, and maybe you get a chance to getting a second one because of it. But if we are down, then I think it's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's just like, if we continuously have to scale and scale, then I don't expect us to get very far because of that. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm hopeful that these ladies can get a result. It's definitely in their hands, and now it's just a matter of time to whether or not they'll be able to do it.
Yeah, no, because this Xolos side, if it's everything at offense, it's all through an Cuellar. You give her the ball and you give her too much space, she will definitely score in any way possible. It seems like no matter where she's at on the pitch, if she does have that ball, if she's at reasonable range, she's gonna shoot that, and that ball is gonna end up in the back of the net most likely because she scores at ridiculous angles. And in that match against Atletico San Luis, I think she scored the fastest hat trick, I think, possibly in Liga MX Femenil history, which I got a chance to see that game. And it's just absolutely ridiculous how fast she was able to score them. It makes it so simple as well. So I feel like a really huge game plan for Xolos, it's really getting any single through ball or cross to Rene Cuellar. And America Femenil needs to do that job in stopping her. Jocelyn Ojeda has played alongside with her back in her Xolos days, so she knows definitely how deadly of a player she can be up front and how deadly she is at goal scoring. So with Xolos, if they give the ball at any given point in time to Rene Cuellar, America Femenil needs to respond immediately to that, because if you just give her too much space, it's gonna probably be too late for us to do anything. So that defense, they gotta come up really big in this game because he cannot be giving up big spaces like we did against San Luis.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the key. Well, that's really honestly gonna fall down to us to whether or not our defense is capable of stopping a player like Oyar and all that stuff. So we'll see. That's honestly gonna be a real testament to this defense. And hey, look, if we can build from somewhere, then let's build from there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that is the interesting thing to kind of keep an eye out for, and we'll see. But AJ's gonna have us covered tomorrow. AJ, what time is the game?
The game is going to be at 1 p.m.
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is going to be, let me do my math here if I can do it correctly. What's 13 minus 3? That's 10. So it's going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. or 12 noon Central Time. And of course, like AJ just mentioned, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is an early game for the ladies, especially on a Friday. But hey, no 1:45 kickoffs, That's a plus. Because I thought it would help make math easier, but apparently you guys just saw it took me a while to subtract the 3 from 13. So I mean, this game's gonna be live via TUDN, correct?
It'll be on through the end, but it will also be live streamed on Facebook on America Femenil. But at this point, if you're trying to suffer more, I would suggest then just going to America Femenil's Facebook page, because their streams, I don't know what the connection's going on there. So there's through the end on there on TV. So you might need to listen to if the Hana chant happens again. There's always the mute button. So there's that.
There definitely is that. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see. And well, I mean, it's gonna be an interesting one. But look, at the end of the day, if the ladies can get a result here, then I mean, who knows? I don't want to sell a fake narrative and say, look, we won this game and then we can go on a great streak and qualify in a very good position. But look, it's got to start somewhere. All is possible at the end of the day. We know that from this league. This team's capable of more, and so it's just something's got to give, right? And let's just hope it's this game, Honestly, let's just hope it's this game. But AJ, give me your prediction for tomorrow's matchup.
I'm going with the 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. I agree with you. I'm going with a 1-1 draw. And the fact that we did not give America the 3 points in this one says exactly where we are at and where this team is at as well. It's not to say that we've lost complete confidence in this team or that we've given up on them, but I think it's just the expectation. The reality of it is that we're in for a long season and things need to turn around quickly, and we don't know if it's going to be against this Xolos side because it's a good Xolos side. But that's the thing, we don't have wiggle room for anything else anymore, AJ, and so it's got to start somewhere,
because our next matches, it's Tigres, Pachuca, Chivas, and Santos, Rayadas, Cruz Azul, and Puebla. That's tough. Man. I'm looking at that, and almost every single team that we're going to face against are in playoff contention. They're in playoff contention. The only two that are not, it's Puebla and Santos. That's like the only two that are not in playoff contention at that point.
Definitely. Well, we got a comment here from Jacob saying 3-3. And if we lose, hashtag fuera Cuellar. Well, I think it's always going to be hashtag fuera Cuellar. But
the 3-3, it depends how that 3-3 ends up happening. Is it going to be a case where we score 3 goals first and then we just ball it? Or do they take it to us and then we have to be the one to do the remontada, even though we don't win, but it's essentially a comeback? It depends how that 3-3 is going to be. Is it going to be that good kind of 3-3 or is that the bad kind? So
why don't we just say America wins it 3-0, right? Let's live in happier times. We'd be much happier next episode if that was the case, right, AJ?
Yes, no doubt about it. I mean, if this was at a time where, we had Lucero Cuevas and Danny Espinosa, it was almost essentially guaranteed, 3-0, or who knows, even more at that point.
So then we're not betting the house.
No.
And we're not betting the toilet.
Neither.
We're definitely not betting anything. Not on this team, not just yet. So that's an interesting thing to take away from this. But look, you guys can catch that game on live feed over on Twitter at Eagle Eye Podcast. Make sure you guys follow us on all our social media platforms. That's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Eagle Eye Podcast. We'll have you guys up to date with all the news regarding Lady Aguilas, scoreline results, breaking news, all that stuff. We'll have you guys covered. So make sure you guys follow us on that aspect as well. Well, AJ, anything else to add on before we wrap up the show?
No, that's about it.
That is about it. Well, this has been Pain Central. Hopefully next week it's not as painful to talk America Femenil, but we'll be back, like I mentioned, on Thursday to recap everything that happened against Xolos. And who are we going up against next, AJ?
We're going to be going up against Tigres next at home in the Estadio Azteca.
At home at the Estadio Azteca. So look at that, guys. Get ready to weather the storm, Get ready. Jacob saying, I'm definitely not betting anything. And I think Jacob is a smart man and we should all follow in his footsteps right there. Let's not bet anything at all. But I can bet you something. I bet you guys can find the best coverage on our social media platforms and here again. So make sure you guys come back next week. We'll talk all things America Femenil and we'll get you guys ready for the game against Tigres. But okay, AJ, one last time. Anything to wrap it up? Anything else?
That's it.
Alrighty then. You guys have heard it here first. Okay, we'll see you guys again next week. You guys stay safe. Be careful out there. We'll be back to talk things all America Femenil. In the meantime, enjoy the Clásico Nacional. It's this weekend, and let's see what happens. And again, enjoy the ladies' match tomorrow. Whether it be a long one or whether it'll be an enjoyable game, still up in the air. But who knows? Gotta watch it to see it. But again, you guys have a wonderful night. We'll stay safe. We'll talk again very, very soon. Until next time, take care. And as always, Arriba America. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news